Hello, good evening from Cork. Welcome to the Walt Whitman Show. Coming to you live from my kitchen in Cork. Aramk G, hello, Flames Fun from Calgary in Canada. How do you do? Nice to see you. Monday, Tuesdays, hello. Revolutionary from Galway, hello. Sharia, hello. How do you do? Simon from England, the south of England. Miranda, Elliot, hello. Hello, nice to see you guys. Thank you for coming. Nice to see you. All right. Now, good evening. This is Walt Whitman, for those of you who may not know him. Goliath. No, this isn't Goliath. This is Walt Whitman. Hello, Spillone from Milan, my friend who likes jazz in Milan. Good evening, Simon. Simon number one. And Brian is here. Brian from Dublin is here. Fantastic. Mark Fraz is here. Lovely. Hello, Mark. How do you do? Lovely to see you guys. And this is Walt Whitman. And for those of you, Artorical, hello, welcome. It's just lovely to see people who I know, people who I feel very friendly towards, people who come on the show every day. And there'll be people watching this on the internet who I'll never have met and who I'll never know. T. McKee, hello, good evening and welcome. Thanks a million for coming. And let me just be social and say hello to you. Very much so. Welcome. Good evening. Well, good evening from Cork. Goodness knows what time it is where you live. So it's you wonder what Walt Whitman was thinking in that photograph. Well, you know, he used to love being photographed. Flames Fun. He used to love being photographed. There are many photographs of Walt Whitman. It's very interesting, really. I can't think of a 19th century poet who was photographed as often as Walt Whitman. There maybe there are some. Maybe you booked a weekend away in Marrakesh. How wonderful. Oh God, Brian, I'd love to go to Marrakesh. Yes. What a great idea. What a great idea. I don't suppose you could be influenced to do a periscope from Marrakesh. He was wondering where his reindeer went. Walt Whitman. Yes, he did. He loved self-promotion. He was experienced at self-promotion. Yes, he was. Although the more I think about it, the more I discover things about poets. An awful lot of them did self-promotion, especially in the 19th century. If there's data coverage, you will. Well, certainly Instagram photographs. Julie, hello, good evening. Lovely to have you here, lovely. Julie reads wonderful stuff usually in about 2 hours time. And she read the Little Prince, the whole lot of it. And so I am now going to read you quite a bit of Walt Whitman this evening. I'm reading Walt Whitman for those of you who don't know, and Clara Wallander. Clara, you know that every time I see your name, I think of Wallander the detective. Your daughter says hi. Hello to your daughter. How do you do? How do you do? Lovely. Yeah, what was I going to say? Oh yeah, I'm going to read a big chunk of Walt Whitman tonight. I decided I would read parts 7, 8 and 9 of the poem I Sing the Body Electric. I'm going to read parts 7, 8 and 9. Kathy Hessler, hello, good evening and welcome. I feel like getting to the I like the phrase from your reading today, ball of wind. Ball of wind. Malin. Malin is here. Wow. Malin, hello. Malin's a bit of a star on Periscope, I can tell you. Oh, yes. No, Malin's a very nice guy. A very nice guy. Just had your son. Long time I've just had your son. Do you mean to say you have a son who's just been born, 7 days old? Congratulations. Hey, we must congratulate. Please congratulate Malin. Please do, Malin. What's the name of your son? What is the name of your son? That's wonderful news. Baby Ocean? Baby Ocean? Leah Mains, hello. Hello, Baby Ocean. Right. Fantastic. Lovely. Dahio, hello. Good evening. Okay, guys, so this evening's show, New Baby Body Electric. So just to tell you, those who just joined, one of the people on the scope here had a new baby 7 days ago. There we are. So, look, what I was going to tell you is that after we've had a little bit of settling down here, a little bit of gathering, chatting to each other, saying hello, just as you would in any a little bit of a social gathering. Damien Todd, hello. Imagine it to be a dinner party. Everyone says hello to each other. Meg Veg is here. Hello. Meg Veg is about to launch a big enterprise, a big Harry Potter enterprise. I just scope with him so you can see him, Paul. I will. I'll go straight there after this show. I will. Groovy Daz, hello. Welcome. Thanks a million for... On Tuesday, Harry Potter begins. So the whole of Harry Potter is going to be read. Groovy Daz, hi. Well, Damien Todd, thank you. Electric, welcome. Who's publisher? Who is my publisher? I've had a few different publishers over the years, but the work I read from today, I published myself. I published it myself on. It was a self-published epic poem. Yes. So look. Coming back to Walt Whitman, I'm going to read you part 7, part 8, and part 9 this evening. I just feel like getting a good dose of it, or a good bit of it, under the belt, as they say. So let me just get ready, and we're going to do some Whitman. We're going to do some Walt Whitman. And the thing about Walt Whitman, you live near Elkhorn Creek. Leah, where is that? And is there a connection with Walt Whitman? Elkhorn Creek. Night Tau Music. Hello. Where Walt Whitman was inspired to write Leaves of Grass. Oh, you know something, Leah, that I don't know. I didn't know that there was a particular place. Ronnie Kennedy, hello. Elkhorn Creek. I have to write that down. I just keep learning things on Periscope. I'm going to write it into my copy of Leaves of Grass. Elkhorn Creek is where Walt Whitman was inspired. Okay, now, some people may not know, this is Walt Whitman. This is what he looked like shortly before he died. He died in 1892. And he began putting together a collection of poems, and, he published the first collection of this book, which is called Leaves of Grass. He published the first edition of it in 1855. Steffi Popescu, hello. And he added to it continuously throughout his life, and this is the whole work. So you can see it's going to take me a bit of time to read the whole of it on Periscope. So that's the ambition. The ambition is to, see who lasts longer, Periscope or Walt Whitman, or me reading Walt Whitman to you and chatting to you about it. What I'm going to do now is I'm going to read all 3 parts. So I think I'll stop after each part. So after part 7, I'll stop. We can have a little chat. Then I'm going to go on with part 8, and then I'm going to read part 9. I did think about reading all 3 parts, one after the other. And so I'm not... thank you, Sharia. Thank you very much. That's a very nice thing to say, actually. It's... but, does anyone have an opinion? Would it be better to read all 3 parts without stopping? Or would it be better to stop, a third? I'm in 2 minds myself. So I just wonder, does anyone have a strong opinion? Stop and discuss it. Yeah. How long are they? They're about, I guess they'll take about 2 minutes each to read, maybe 3 minutes each to read. Have a break. I think we'll go for having a break. Yeah, I'm sure it's much better now that you say it. Discussion is what you enjoy, right? Being read at isn't exactly the best experience in the world. No, it's okay, so here we go. Part 7 of Walt Whitman's long poem, I Sing the Body Electric, one of his best known poems of all. A man's body at auction. For before the war I often go to the slave mart and watch the sale. I help the auctioneer. The sloven does not half know his business. Gentlemen, look on this wonder. Whatever the bids of the bidders, they cannot be high enough for it. For it the globe lay preparing quintillions of years without one animal or plant. For it the revolving cycles truly and steadily rolled. In this head the all-baffling brain, in it and below it the makings of heroes. Examine these limbs, red, black or white. They are cunning in tendon and nerve. They shall be stripped that you may see them. Exquisite senses, life-lit eyes, pluck, volition, flakes of breast muscle, pliant backbone and neck, flesh not flabby, good-sized arms and legs, and wonders within there yet. Within there runs blood, the same old blood, the same red running blood. There swells and jets a heart, there all passions, desires, reachings, aspirations. Do you think they are not there because they are not expressed in parlours and lecture rooms? This is not only one man. This is the father of those who shall be fathers in their turns. In him the start of populous states and rich republics. Of him countless immortal lives with countless embodiments and enjoyments. How do you know who shall come from the offspring of his offspring through the centuries? Who might you find you have come from yourself, if you could trace back through the centuries? End of part 7. Wow. This is a bit like Walt Whitman saying, you know, have you got any idea who your ancestors are? And there have indeed been television programs, haven't there, in which people have, you know, things have been revealed about people's pasts, their ancestors, if you like. So it almost very powerful about the issue of slavery. That is powerful, isn't it? Absolutely powerful. I mean, especially when he uses the word parlours and, where is it? Parlours and lecture rooms, you know, and he seems to be saying, to me he seems to be saying, look, every one of these human beings has got, you know, red blood and will be father of people who will be fathers of. Look at the slave and where they come from, that terrible scourge. Yes, welcome lovely Previn, welcome Alicia. We're still fighting this. Yes. Finding Your Roots on PBS is a great program. Yes, I mean, this could almost be the beginning of the, you know, this could be a strapline. How do you know who shall come from the offspring of his offspring through the centuries? Who might you find you have come from yourself, if you could trace back through the centuries? Who might you find you have come from? Yeah. I mean, that whole section, it's very much, what's the president? What is the, oh, you're saying like the president, where did the president come from? For his time, this idea was dangerous, right? Do you have any idea, Mark, if there were any, if what Whitman was writing was attacked as being dangerous? I know his president is black, yes. Before the Civil War, yes. Civil War began in 1861, went 1861, 1865. This poem was first published in 1855, without a title, incidentally. Slavery was contentious, yes, yes. Leaves of Grass was self-published, absolutely. Leaves of Grass was self-published, yes. So was a houseman's, a Shropshire lad. He was in a young country who perhaps didn't think much about the family tree. He couldn't get a publisher, no, and he even wrote a review of it. He published a review of his own work, written by himself, in a journal that he edited, or in paper that he edited, I can't remember which. I remember laughing very much to myself when I heard that. I thought, no one would be so daring nowadays to write a review of their own work and publish it, you know, anonymously or in somebody else's name. Okay, I'm going to read on. I'm going to read section 8. Yes, it's quite a good idea, isn't it, Damien, really? It's, you know, imagine if you were going to review your own work. What would you say about it? Okay, part 8. It happened in Amazon not long ago. Oh, did it? Some author reviewed his or her own work on Amazon and was found out? Right. I'd say there was a lot of disapproval of that. especially if they gave themselves, whatever it was, 5 stars. Wow. Well, Whitman did it, so I suppose that would be a defense. If Walt Whitman can do it. Ziggery Zin, hello and welcome. Thank you for coming. I'm an Irish poet who's reading the work of an American poet. Jack Count, hello. Yes, I'm Irish. I live in Ireland. I live in the south coast of Ireland in a place called Cork. And I'm reading the work of the greatest of the American poets, in my opinion. And in one of his greatest pieces of poetry called Sing the Body Electric. And I'm going to read section 8 now. So this is about women, right? We just had one that started, A Man's Body at Auction. So now we're going to get A Woman's Body at Auction. A woman's body at auction. She too is not only herself. She is the teeming mother of mothers. She is the bearer of them that shall grow and be mates to the mothers. Have you ever loved the body of a woman? Have you ever loved the body of a man? Do you not see that these are exactly the same to all, in all nations and times, all over the earth? If anything is sacred, the human body is sacred. And the glory and sweet of a man is the token of manhood untainted. And in man or woman, a clean, strong, firm-fibred body is more beautiful than the most beautiful face. Have you seen the fool that corrupted his own live body, or the fool that corrupted her own live body? For they do not conceal themselves, and cannot conceal themselves. End of part 8. A woman's body at auction. She too is not only herself, she is the teeming mother of mothers. She is the bearer of them that shall grow and be mates to the mothers. So he's talking here about, selling female slaves, really. And then he addresses people, he addresses everybody and says, have you ever loved the body of a woman? Have you ever loved the body of a man? Do you not see that these are exactly the same to all in all nations and times all over the earth? Yeah, so he's really, it sounds very much like as if he's really trying to get people to realize that the buying and selling of slaves is the buying and selling of real people. Walt Whitman was gay. Yes, Walt Whitman was gay. Yes. And another time I'll tell you a bit of the story about Walt Whitman in his relationship with Peter Doyle, who comes from Limerick and was born in the same city as myself and was actually baptized in the same parish as myself and was educated by the same religious order as myself, and was a tram conductor, and I was a bus conductor. And he fell in love with a poet, and I fell in love with a poet. So there. No, he was educated by Jesuits. Peter Doyle was educated at Sunday school by Jesuits in in Limerick. Not for long, but it does count. I was educated by Jesuits. So yeah, Orion, hello. Orion, I was talking about you today. And so I'm going to read on. The part 9 is the final part of I Sing the Body Electric. And I'll tell you something before I read it. It's full of hyphenated words. Oh, we have a bad connection? Right. Do you all have a bad connection? Is it just one place, or has anybody else got a bad connection? Damien's fine, Goliath is fine, Monday, Tuesdays is fine. Okay. Okay, good in San Diego. Okay, well maybe the problem is a local one, and if you just log out, and I hope, Leah, that you've got a good connection now. Okay. So the final part of I Sing the Body Electric has got, I can't tell you how many words. You can hear Puma. You are absolutely right. Little side story. Puma is a cat, right? We have a cat, and I'm not used to us having a cat. We haven't had a cat for very long. And Puma had a bit of an accident this evening. Puma went and pulled down a whole load of stuff and gave himself an awful fright. It took me about 10 minutes to tidy up after Puma had pulled one of the shelves apart. Nearly landed a wrench on his head. Yes. So, here we go with the final piece of Walt Whitman's poem, I Sing the Body Electric. But Puma was unhurt. You know, no cats were killed during the telling of this story. Right? Just want you to know. Okay, here we go. Oh, my body, I dare not desert the likes of you in other men and women, nor the likes of the parts of you. I believe the likes of you are to stand or fall with the likes of the soul, and that they are the soul. I believe the likes of you shall stand or fall with my poems, and that they are my poems, man's, women's, child's, youth's, wife's, husband's, mother's, father's, young man's, young woman's poems. Head, neck, hair, eye, ears, drop and tympan of the ears. Eyes, eye fringes, iris of the eye, eyebrows, and the waking or sleeping of the lids. Mouth, tongue, lips, teeth, roof of the mouth, jaws and the jaw hinges. Nose, nostrils of the nose and the partition, cheeks, temples, forehead, chin, throat, back of the neck, neck slew. Strong shoulders, manly beard, scapula, hind shoulders, and the ample side round of the chest. Upper arm, armpit, elbow socket, lower arm, arm sinews, arm bones, wrist and wrist joints, hand, palm, knuckles, thumb, forefinger, finger joints, fingernails, broad breast front, curling hair of the breast, breastbone, breast side, ribs, belly, backbone, joints of the backbone, hips, hip sockets, hip strength, inward and outward round, man balls, man root, strong set of thighs, well carrying the trunk above, leg fibers, knee, knee pan, upper leg, under leg, ankles, instep, foot ball, toes, toe joints, the heel, all attitudes, all the shapeliness, all the belongings of my or your body, or of anyone's body, male or female. The lung sponges, the stomach sac, the bowel sweet and clean, the brain in its folds, inside the skull frame, sympathies, heart valves, palate valves, sexuality, maternity, womanhood and all that is a woman, and the man that comes from woman, the womb, the teats, nipples, breast milk, tears, laughter, weeping, love looks, body perturbations and risings, the voice, articulation, language, whispering, shouting aloud, food, drink, pulse, digestion, sweat, sleep, walking, swimming, poise on the hips, leaping, reclining, embracing, arm curving and tightening, the continual changes of the flex of the mouth and around the eyes, the skin, the sunburnt shade, freckles, hair, the curious sympathy one feels when feeling with the hand the naked meat of the body, the circling rivers, the breath, and breathing it in and out, the beauty of the waist, and thence of the hips, and thence downward towards the knees, the thin red jellies within you or within me, the bones and the marrow in the bones, the exquisite realization of health. Oh, I say these are not the parts and poems of the body only, but of the soul. Oh, I say now, these are the soul. So there you have the whole, or we have reached the end. Well, Simon, I have never read anything the like of it before. Walt Whitman for president. I mean, think about what topics people have used in poetry. You know, this is unique stuff. Mark, you're very welcome. I mean, he wrote this in the 1850s. Lars, hello, good evening. You can see why he's my favourite. Yeah, well, I must kind of ooze favouritism and unique. None of us have ever heard poetry like this before. I mean, we have an idea about poetry. We have an idea, but, people talk about list poems. List poems. List poems are when the poet lists a whole lot of things. It's hard not to love him, yes. Well, I have found it impossible not to love him, really. I have found him irresistible. But what a list. What a list. Yes. So, and then to say this whole thing is the soul. Not just the body, it's the soul. I mean, and you know, Whitman uses the word sing a lot. I sing the body electric. I sing the body electric. That's the name of the poem. And it doesn't half end with singing the body, doesn't it? There's a heck of a lot. I wonder, have any of you ever done an mindfulness exercise in which you basically focus on your body from the tip of your toes to the right up through? There must have been a lot of eyes rolling from the rest of the poets, yes. Oh, he was vilified. He was attacked roundly for his poetry. Don't ever think for a minute that Whitman was popular from the beginning. Whitman was, you know, maybe the most vilified of poets that I've ever come across. I've read some of the things that were said about him. You know, you think, well, you don't have to be quite that nasty. You know, he was attacked on every score. Must be hard to stay on course. Absolutely, Lars. Do you know there are now schools named after Walt Whitman in the United States? Oh yes, I'm not at all surprised. Sure, there's a huge bridge, isn't there? A huge bridge. His reputation was terrible. Absolutely right. His reputation really was bad. And, you know, he wasn't well off. You know, he didn't have loads of money or anything. You know, and so it wasn't a great, we had to catch up to him. You know, there's a bridge called Walt Whitman Bridge, isn't there? There's a huge bridge. I need a glass of water. Yeah, that's a good idea. That's a very good idea. I mean, by the time it got to the 1880s, we'll say, Whitman was recognized. Philadelphia, over the Delaware, into New Jersey. Yeah. I'd love to walk that bridge. Actually, there's so many things about hello. Where was he born in Long Island? I can't remember. Somebody will know. Crossing Brooklyn. Yeah, that's... does anyone know where exactly Walt Whitman was born on Long Island? I'm quite sure that I don't have that information in front of me. I certainly have it in the house, and in fact you'd get it off Google, but and I don't think I have. No, this volume doesn't have it. I like his look on the common man. No fancy throne rooms in his poems, yes. West Hills. Oh, West Hills on Long Island. West Hills, Mark says. Huntington. Ah, I'll be able to remember that. Huntington Station, Long Island. So I'm guessing, I don't know the geography of Long Island at all. Am I right in interpreting this as that it was Huntington Station on Long Island that Walt Whitman was born? Right, he certainly had family connections with people who worked on the docks. West Hills in Huntington County. Billy Joel came from there too, did he? Really? Billy Joel was born there as well. So Walt Whitman and Billy Joel, well, that's a nice... I'll have to pay more attention to Billy Joel. I wonder, has Billy Joel got a song about Walt Whitman? Or he lived there. He moved from there to Brooklyn. Ah. That's Billy Joel, is it? I'm in danger of getting myself completely confused. But I think Billy Joel moved to Brooklyn. Would I be right? I know Walt Whitman lived in, grew up on Long Beach and travelled around quite a lot. Mucho problems. Welcome. Travelled around quite a lot. And Billy Joel wrote Uptown Girl about Walt Whitman. Aha! Walt moved from West Hills to Brooklyn, New York. Right. Yes. Well, it's about time I went back to some book I have in the house. I really do need... I've said this before, I do need to read a proper, full biography of Walt Whitman. Yeah. You know what it's like when you fall in love with somebody's music or somebody's poetry or somebody's paintings, sometimes you don't immerse yourself. Yes, well... Oh, the argument is, I just prefer to believe, perhaps I'm wrong even about this, the simplest explanation is that, Whitman was gay. As Jenny said the other day, it goes beyond sexual orientation. It does. I mean, there's no doubt that Whitman appreciated men and women wholly, really wholly. There's a Walt Whitman shopping mall on Long Island, right. The Paul Zweig book, right. He admired and appreciated the bodies of men and women and the souls of men and women. I mean, Christy Brinkley, The Making of the Poet. Okay, The Making of the Poet. Right, time I read that. Poet by Paul Z.W. Of course, I could be doing the sensible thing and take a screenshot, but I'm old school, I use pen and paper and pencil and things like that. I keep forgetting to do screenshots. It's better than the Kaplan one. Well, now that's a good steer, because I had seriously thought about the Kaplan one. Mark, you've read both of them. I mean, that's the thing. I do this show about Walt Whitman, and, wow, and I sometimes have a good laugh at myself about, well, that's good. Thank you, Simon. Yeah, to send me some screenshots. Or when little bits in the conversation come up with, things that, well, somebody used the word flummoxed today in some scope I was on. It might have even been my own, and I thought, that's a wonderful word. I haven't used the word flummoxed. I haven't written the word flummoxed in a poem ever. But I forget now what I was going to say. But look, we've we've shared. Oh no, I know. I have a good laugh at myself about, reading Walt Whitman to you and to other people and other people listening and thinking, there are people here who know a huge lot more about Walt Whitman than I do. But sod it, I just have, he affects me in a certain way, and I really strongly think that the way that we all know the same. Sometimes it seems like he is not telling everything he thinks, like it's too controversial after life. He's for all of us, yeah. There's quite a number of the poems, the remaining poems in the collection Children of Adam. You don't need to know his inside leg measurements to be able to enjoy his poetry. Oh, that's fantastic. That's fantastic. You don't need to know his inside leg measurements to be able to. Oh God, that's really good. I get, poetry is such a serious topic, such a very serious topic, if you like, or that's the way it was always. Hey, bye-bye, Kathy. Cheerio. Bye-bye, and thank you for being here. Lovely of you to come. Lovely of you to come. Was that Simon who said you don't need to know his inside leg measurements? I mean, thank you, Kathy. Thank you very much. Look, it's just lovely. I hope to hear you sing, Kathy. I hope to hear you sing. I still haven't forgotten that I hope to hear you sing. But poetry is such a serious business, Congratulations. Congratulations, Mr. Simon. That, I will quote that line. Carnal one, good evening, hello. You will sing, wonderful. Well, of course, there's so many talented people come here. I mean, I can imagine, Kathy singing. Well, I can't because I haven't heard her voice yet. And then how do you do? How do you do? But at that time, there must have been some thoughts that were best to keep in silence. Oh, Lars, every person has thoughts that they wouldn't dare express. Every person has aspects, feelings, imaginations that they wouldn't dare express. And that, nobody expresses everything. Absolutely, Lars, yes. But you're right, there was a lot of, particularly at that time, yes. And Whitman edited his work. Yes, he did. He edited the work. So he took things out and he changed words here and there throughout the different editions of Leaves of Grass. Yes, he was, in Europe, and he did have some strong supporters in Europe. Marissa Dunlap is here. Marissa, yes, Mark. Maybe you can tell us a bit about that, actually. Marissa, welcome. Welcome. And the support he had in England was crucial for his, future in America, I think is what you're saying. Oops, I have to be careful that I don't run out of, before we knew what he was, right. Also in Germany. Oh, thank you, Colonel. Carnal One. Of course, I'm totally intrigued by your name, Carnal One. I really am. It's a, you know, I'm a poet, and I could easily imagine that somebody has already written a poem saying, "Oh, Carnal One," you know, and go on from there. Forgive me now, I don't mean to put you on the spot or anything like that, but it was just what went through my head when I saw your name. It's, yeah, how was, look, it's, the great thing on here is that nobody has to see anybody else blushing, and I'm the only person who can blush in public on this, here. But, yeah, I read the history of you know, who were the poets in England, well, in Britain anyway, who came out strongly in favor of Walt Whitman, and who did it in the 1860s, because that would have been, you know, I think Leaves of Grass was first published in England reasonably early, actually. It may have been about 1863 or 4. Simmons. Hello, Zareen. Hello, Zareen. Siddiqui. Hello, Wilde, yes. But Wilde, I don't think, I mean, Wilde went to see Walt Whitman, but it was 1880 when Wilde went to see Walt Whitman. And by that time, Walt Whitman was an established and, you know, well-respected writer, living in the house which he lived in for a long time. Like the Russian composers of classical music, I heard they risked their life while making their work. J.A. Simmons, right. J.A. Simmons, right. I haven't a clue who J.A. Simmons is. You know, I don't think any poems by J.A. Simmons ever appeared in the school anthology that I rely on so much. Because you see, in terms of Stravinsky's Rite of Spring, well, now we're talking serious music. Now we're talking serious music. I've been to the ballet, Rite of Spring. I've been to a ballet. I think it was choreographed by, he got booed off. Oh, Stravinsky's opening night. Oh, a big, yes. Simmons was Social Media John. Hello, Social Media John. Welcome. Thank you for coming. Trying to piece together, I think, you know what I'm going to do? I'm going to get myself a little, I have a notebook somewhere where I wrote down all the information about Whitman. Lars, I don't know much classical music, but you admire the Russians for their bravery. Yeah. It's your favorite. He said the piece came through him. Right, Stravinsky's Rite of Spring. Yeah. That was a revolutionary work. I mean, that gave everybody a bit of a shock, I think, in terms of it. You know, I think, yeah. Yeah, and if you contrast it with Bruckner, it's a heck of a different piece of music. So yeah, I'm no expert now on what happened to the symphonies. Mind you, Alicia, your family would be a bit of an expert on what happened to symphonies over the years. No, I'm not saying you got it from your dad or anything like that. I mean, you got it your way. But yeah, I used to listen to Beethoven symphonies when I was a kid. My father was mad about Beethoven, and my mother too. But they used to play 5, 6, and 7. Those three symphonies a lot at home when I was growing up. So I got a good dose of Beethoven symphonies. What kind of music did you grow up with? There is so much I don't know about classical, as I'm the black sheep. Ah, right. There's so much you don't know about classical music. Oh, you lucky thing. You can go and so the kind of music you grew up on, Simon, was Billy Joel, jazz, bebop, swing. These were the music you grew up with. Your parents played ZZ Top as I was growing up. You grew up on Barry Manilow. Right. Simon, you grew up on Roy Orbison? No, you're joking. You're not old enough to have grown up on Roy Orbison. Surely, I never thought of you as having grown up with Roy Orbison. Although, hang on a second, your parents might have been mad Roy Orbison fans. Danish music in your home, well, you'd expect that, wouldn't you? Your mum played it in the car all the time. Oh, right. Oh, I could listen to Roy Orbison and Dusty Springfield for a weekend. Opera and classical, one side, jazz and swing on the others, and the Beatles on your radio. That's lovely. What a great summary. God, that could be the start of a novel. Yeah, who likes Dusty Springfield? I just love Dusty Springfield. Dusty, yes. Oh, yes. Ah, Noel Coward. Ah. Oh. And he sang it himself, didn't he? She sang some torch songs, boy. You saw Dusty Springfield in London as a little kid? Wow. Wow. You saw Dusty Springfield, right. Only your grandpa listened to classical. He was the only one reading too. Well, Lars, it's something rubbed off on you. I mean, now you're a poet. The first album I bought was MC Hammer. Right. And Sandy Shaw. So you saw both Dusty Springfield and Sandy Shaw. Do you mean on the same show or on the same stage? Nelsha Cross, hello. Tell you who I saw. Your first album was Jungle Book. Oh, I love the music of Jungle Book. I love it. You don't have to say you love me. You don't have to say you love me. I will understand. You don't have to stay forever. I was a Michael Jackson fan. You saw them live on TV. Oh, right. Just be close at hand. Believe me. Sorry to be tardy, Nelsha. Melcha, you're very... Will you read the poem once more, please? I will definitely read some more Walt Whitman. I will. I'll read... I guess I have to go back to the beginning. I have to go back to the beginning and read the whole thing through. That's the only way to do it, I think. That's yes. Back to back. One solid marathon reading, you know. And I will. I'm going to read the whole thing. Yes, without stopping, without hesitation, repetition, or deviation. Okay? Simon, you will understand the significance of hesitation, repetition, or deviation, won't you? Rhetorical hello. I'm referring to a particular radio program. Just a minute. Just a minute. Yes, a famous radio program on the BBC in which somebody was given a topic. There are 4 contestants. One of them starts and you have to speak without hesitation, repetition or deviation on that topic for 1 minute. Am I going to read it all in 1 minute? I am not Jason Stolkin, right? I am not Jason Stolkin. I'd like Jason Stolkin to read a poem, you know, with the speed with which he reads. He could probably get through Leaves of Grass on a Saturday afternoon. Then you had a long period with hard music, an uprising to the rest of the family's pop love. Ah, right. Okay, guys, I'm going to settle down now, and I'm going to do my best to prop the phone in the right place. I read 33 cantos earlier. Okay, it's balanced now. I hope it won't fall down. Lincoln Express, hello. Oh, you missed it, yeah? Well, it's up on Catch. It's the part of 33 Irish epic poem in 33 cantos is on Catch. I read a whole canto today. Actually, the first time I've ever read a whole canto on Periscope. Yeah, it's there. I'm just going to get some more water, right? And I'll be back then, and I'm going to read. No, it's not actually. It's charging. The complication is it's charging at the same time as it. Is it very distracting actually? Is it distracting to have the phone propped? There must be a way I can do this. Hold on. That's better. Right, I'm going to get some water. No blue water now. Just... Okay, guys. Okay. This is Walt Whitman. The last 3 parts of his poem, I Sing the Body Electric. Old Kaloa, welcome, welcome. So I sing the Body Electric, the last 3 parts, one part after the other. A man's body at auction. For before the war I often go to the slave mart and watch the sale. I help the auctioneer, the sloven does not half know his business. Gentlemen, look at this wonder. Whatever the bids of the bidders, they cannot be high enough for it. For it the globe lay preparing quintillions of years without one animal or plant. For it the revolving cycles truly and steadily rolled. In this head the all-baffling brain, in it and below it the making of heroes. Examine these limbs, red, black or white. They are cunning in tendon and nerve. They shall be stripped that you may see them. Exquisite senses, life-lit eyes, pluck, volition, flakes of breast muscle, pliant black backbone and neck, flesh not flabby, good-sized arms and legs, and wonders within there yet. Within there runs blood, the same old blood, the same red running blood, there swells and jets a heart. There all passions, desires, reachings, aspirations. Do you think they are not there? Because they are not expressed in parlours and lecture rooms? This is not only one man, this the father of those who shall be fathers in their turns. In him the start of populous states and rich republics. Of him countless immortal lives with countless embodiments and enjoyments. How do you know who shall come from the offspring of his offspring through the centuries? Who might you find you have come from yourself if you could trace back through the centuries? Part 8. A woman's body at auction. She too is not only herself. She is the teeming mother of mothers. She is the bearer of them that shall grow and be mates to the mothers. Have you ever loved the body of a woman? Have you ever loved the body of a man? Do you not see that these are exactly the same to all in all nations and times all over the earth? If anything is sacred, the human body is sacred, and the glory and sweet of a man is the token of manhood untainted. And in man or woman, a clean, strong, firm-fibred body is more beautiful than the most beautiful face. Have you seen the fool that corrupted his own live body, or the fool that corrupted her own live body? For they do not conceal themselves, and cannot conceal themselves. Part 9. O my body, I dare not desert the likes of you in other men and women, nor the likes of the parts of you. I believe the likes of you are to stand or fall with the likes of the soul, and that they are the soul. I believe the likes of you shall stand or fall with my poems, and that they are my poems. Man's, woman's, child's, youth's, wife's, husband's, mother's, father's, young man's, young woman's poems. Head, neck, hair, ears, drop and tympan of the ears. Eyes, eye fringes, iris of the eye, eyebrows, and the waking or sleeping of the lids. Mouth, tongue, lips, teeth, roof of the mouth, jaws and the jaw hinges. Nose, nostrils of the nose and the partition. Cheeks, temples, forehead, chin, throat, back of the neck, neck slew. Strong shoulders, manly beard, scapula, hind shoulders, and the ample side round of the chest. Upper arm, armpit, elbow socket, lower arm, arm sinews, arm bones. Wrist and wrist joints, hand, palm, knuckles, thumb, forefinger, finger joints, fingernails. Broad breast front, curling hair of the breast, breastbone, breast side. Ribs, belly, backbone, joints of the backbone. Hips, hip sockets, hip strength, inward and outward, round, man balls, man root. strong set of thighs, well carrying the trunk above, leg fibers, knee, knee pan, upper leg, under leg, ankles, instep, foot ball, toes, toe joints, the heel, all attitudes, all the shapeliness, all the belongings of my or your body, or of anyone's body, male or female. The lung sponges, the stomach sac, the bowels sweet and clean, the brain in its folds inside the skull frame, sympathies, heart valves, palate valves, sexuality, maternity, womanhood, and all that is a woman, and the man that comes from a woman, the womb, the teats, nipples, breast milk, tears, laughter, weeping, love looks, love perturbations and risings, the voice, articulation, language, whispering, shouting aloud, food, drink, pulse, digestion, sweat, sleep, walking, swimming, poise on the hips, leaping, reclining, embracing, arm curving and tightening, the continual changes of the flex of the mouth and around the eyes, the skin, the sunburnt shade, freckles, hair, the continuous sympathy one feels when feeling with the hand the naked meat of the body, the circling rivers, the breath, the breathing in and out, and breathing it in and out, the beauty of the waist, and thence of the hips, and thence downward towards the knees, the thin red jellies within you or within me, the bones and the marrow of the bones, the exquisite realization of health. Oh, I say, these are not the parts and poems of the body only, but of the soul. Oh, I say now, these are the soul. Namaste. By Alicia. Play well, as I'm sure you will. So, that repetitions. Yes, repetition of soul, yes. He ran out of words. Yeah. Thank you, Artario. That was beautiful. Ah, that's a great, yeah, that's good. Yeah. It's wonderful to read, you know. I mean, to read it out loud is such a joy for me, you know, because I feel I'm engaging with it. Yeah, think about absolutely, it's so true. A great ending, it really is. Thank you very much. I sing The Body Electric ends with the line, oh, I say now, these are the soul. I mean, that's quite a journey it's wonderful to just absorb your voice, the words, the meaning. Yeah, it is. It's wonderful to read, you know. It gets me going. It really does, and I read it with I read it with as much strength as I can muster, you know, and I kind of feel that I could read it many times and it would mean slightly different things each time. Clark Tomlin, hello. But what I love most of all is that you like it. You know, I remember We Are Living His Work Out Loud. Yeah, I can remember so clearly when I started reading Walt Whitman, saying to myself, look, no one will be much interested in this. I see a poem when looking at you reading one. Oh, Lars. I know that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a pig. You know that poem, Lars? I know that I shall never see a poem as lovely as a pig. Well, it goes along with the first line of, I wandered lonely as a cloud. That was in its first draft, I wandered lonely as a cow. The Copper Celt, hello. I wandered lonely as a cow. Yes. You remember that poem? In fact, there could be a really fun little book in which some of the early drafts of some of the most famous poems were presented. Because, you know, sometimes when a poet can't find the right word, they put in any word. I've been held for questioning by police at Canary Wharf for live streaming. What? You've been held by police at Canary Wharf for live streaming? Orion, on what grounds did they hold you? On what grounds could they? Did they? This bodes well for the London scope. Why? Yeah, why? Why? They thought you were a terrorist. They told you that. They thought you were what? A terrorist who was casing the joint, getting ready to... That's terrible. That is terrible. They said Canary Wharf was a private place. Yeah, but it's not up to them to control that. There must be somebody very famous living there or something like that. Yes, I suppose we should ask that question, Simon. We should ask that question. Yes. But that's very unpleasant. What time of the evening did it happen at, Orion? What time of the evening did it happen? They never saw anyone scoping. Well, you've gone and educated some of Her Majesty's police force. It would have been dark. You aren't completely white, so they had strong proofs. God. My goodness, my goodness. It would have been in the dark. I mean, I know Canary Wharf reasonably well. I used to know Canary Wharf. They saw me on CCTV pointing my camera everywhere. Yes, here's the important question. Did you have a large amount of explosives strapped around your waist? Yes. Can you please let us know, do many people scope now in Europe? I don't know. That would be quite an amazing scope. Yes. To scope the police stopping somebody scoping. You know, we have the right, the public has the right to photograph the police on the public road. Yes, you do have the right in law. A suicide bomber with a bad connection. Lars, you're incorrigible. You are incorrigible. That's, absolutely. I told them, what if everyone starts scoping soon? What will they do about it? Lars, were you on the road, or did you go into the wharf off the public road? Yeah. I still think it's a very bad experience to have had, and it might not be a bad idea to drop a line to the police, informing the police commissioner that you feel quite shaken by the experience. I think Orion is made of sterner stuff. I think he's probably had tougher experiences in his life, even though he's a complete, consummate gentleman. Yes. They were friendly. Yeah, they were friendly. Oh, well, that's good. That's good. That's nice. Now, in how many countries could we say the police are friendly? Are there any police in Denmark, by the way? The Danes are so civilized and so orderly a people. You never hear of any protests in Denmark. It was just weird, and I was annoyed by it. I'm not surprised. You must have been a bit surprised and taken aback. 30 minutes. Wow, that's a long time. Do they ask you for identification? Do they do that? We need to be the police force doing scopes. Yes, they took notes of your details, yeah. I've already got a fireman in the States doing scopes, yes. I have had my own experience many years ago when I used to travel between Dublin and Belfast, and I would be stopped always by the special branch and questioned. So I've had quite a lot of experience of being, you're not on a watch list. This is Orion, are you on a watch list? They are worried that the video will be used by terrorists. But it does sound completely spurious if it's shared online. But you were scoping Canary Wharf. It's preposterous. It's ridiculous. I mean, anyone could walk down there and film it. Doesn't have to be scoped. They don't get live streaming. I bet you they don't. Well, junior police officers wouldn't have a module on live streaming in their training. Yeah, what about Street View? Yeah. It was difficult explaining it to... Were they constables in uniform? Were they in uniform? It's like explaining Periscope to your friends. They should focus on the scopes in Iraq or Iran if they're worried, yeah. Were they in uniform, Orion? Oh, they were like secret agents in suits. Well, I'll tell you something. It's one way of telling somebody that there's a potential target in there. They would never have heard of Periscope. Surely not. I think, Orion. Yeah. What had they heard of Twitter? In fact, wow, it was not on Periscope or Facebook. What about Facebook? You were trying the new app called Friend Life. Oh, that's very interesting. I have never heard of Friend Life. Or Friend Life. All right.